You have decided that you want to look into an IUL, but you just don't know where the heck to get it. Don't worry, you're in the right place. I'm going to walk you through qualifying for an IUL, who to contact to get one, and also what you will need to put in an application. Yes, my friends, I did say application. An IUL is not an account that you just put in your paperwork and you get it like a bank account. It is actually an insurance product, and like any other insurance product, it does require an application. Now, in terms of qualifying, the bare minimum of what you need to qualify for an IUL is you need to be 85 or younger. You need to have a social security or an ITIN number, and you need to have the means to fund this IUL. You do get to pick your premium of how much you want to pay into this IUL, but not all numbers are going to be approved because the underwriters are going to check to see to make sure that that amount that you want to pay makes sense based on how much your income is. So those are the bare minimums of what you need to apply. Now, it is an application and a lot of people do not get approved. So what is going to impact your probability of getting approved is how risky the insurance company sees you. So the insurance company, they're out here to make money. And so they are placing a bet that, hey, if we insure you, you are not going to die in the next week. So if anything is in your record where they feel like you're risky, right? So some of the things that they look at is they look at your medical history. Have you had a heart attack, stroke, surgery? Do you have cancer? If you have diabetes, what is your A1C, right? They look at all these different factors about your health to make an assessment on whether or not it's worth them betting their money on you. They also will look at your financials. So if you want a policy that requires you to pay $500 a month, but your income is $500 a month, the underwriter's probably not going to approve it for that much, if at all, because they're not going to take your money that you actually need to live on. They also are going to look at your criminal history. So if you've had a felony, misdemeanor in the last 10 years, that is going to impact your application. They also are going to be looking at how many policies you have applied for in the last 12 months. So don't be applying for policies willy-nilly if you don't really want them, because they will impact your ability to get an IUL in the future. But the only way for you to know whether or not you qualify is to actually submit an application. Don't just say, hey, because I have diabetes, I'm not going to get it. That is not the case. You want to actually speak to someone that is an expert in IULs to get a full picture of what is happening with you. Don't self-eliminate and decide that you do not qualify for an IUL. Even if you do not qualify, there are ways for you to get an IUL using somebody else, such as your spouse, your children. So there are ways around it. But most importantly, you want to talk to somebody that does this every day so they can tell you whether or not your situation is something where it's worth putting in an application. And most importantly, whether or not the IUL makes sense based on your overall financial goals on what you want to do with this policy. So now, speaking of talking to somebody, you do need to speak to a human to put in your application for an IUL. IULs are only available through insurance carriers. This is not something where you can go to your bank to apply. An IUL isn't a policy where you can just go online and get some quotes. It requires you to speak to somebody in order to design an IUL that is specific to you, specific to your age, your budget, and what you want to do and when you want to do it. So you need to speak to a licensed financial professional that specializes in IULs in order for you to get an IUL. So you can't just find the insurance companies that do IULs because they don't do policies themselves. They rely on licensed agents that are outside of their office that work one-on-one with clients to design IULs and then submit that IUL to the company. If you're interested in getting an IUL designed for you, but more importantly, seeing if you qualify for an IUL, go ahead and tap on the link in the description and myself or one of my team members will hop on a call with you to see if it is a good fit. Once you speak to an IUL specialist and they've determined that this is the correct vehicle for you based on what your goals are, the next step is to submit an application. Once that application is submitted, you most likely will not get an answer right away. It can take up to 3 weeks to hear back from the insurance company. They're going to be verifying the information that you submitted in your application to make sure that it is real. If any additional information is needed, they will let your IUL specialist know, in which case they will let you know. I am curious, what is it that has you excited about the IUL? Go ahead and drop your reason in the comments below. For me, I like the IUL because I have the ability to do a few things in one place. First, I get a guarantee that if I die, there is funds from that policy that can pay off my house. and also marry me. It's also a place where I can save money as an emergency fund for my multi-family. It also is a place where I can pull money out to purchase more real estate, but my intention is always to put that money back in because I want to make sure that once I am older, that policy continues to pay for itself. Now, whether or not the IUL is a good fit for you depends specifically on what you're trying to do, how old you are, how long you plan on leaving money in there, and how much you're putting in. And the best way for you to find out whether or not it makes sense is to speak to somebody that designs IULs every day. Make sure you check out the link in the comments to book a time for us to chat. Now, before I became licensed, I had no idea that an IUL existed. I thought life insurance was only for when you died, but there are so many things you can do with an IUL while you're alive. So make sure you check out this video right here for 10 different things you can do with your IUL that I'm sure you have no idea about. I'll see you there.